Hello, this is Tommy Ivy, video number 36, and the title is, Why is it so difficult to be saved? And a very important lesson, and I'm sorry that it's not a friendly lesson, but it's something I think everybody needs. Patricia's going to be drawing in the background, painting in the background, and it has a lot to do with the lesson. 4 points. Number 1, are there few that be saved? Number 2, what percent of people are saved? Number 3, why are there so few saved? And number 4, why do we need to strive? So number 1, are there few that be saved? In Luke 13:23, then said one unto him, Lord, are there few that be saved? And this was a villager. He was a Jew. And he thought the answer was going to be, oh no, there's many going to be saved. And if you go to funerals nowadays, you would think that everyone is saved. You never hear that the poor departed sir is burning in hell right now. In Matthew 7:21, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. So the person that's going to be saved is the person that's doing the will of my Father. So let's try to figure out what that means. In John 6:40, and this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So if you see the Son and believeth on him, that is the will of my Father. Is the number of people that believe in the Son few or many? In Matthew 7:13-14, enter ye in at the strait gate, that means the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Verse 14, because strait is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth into life, and few there be that find it. So many destruction, few find life. Jesus was talking to a crowd, a church crowd, and they were all going to heaven, they thought. And when they got kind of shocked because Jesus was saying, if you're on the broad road, that's destruction. And they were saying, am I on the broad road? And they were good Jews and they were keeping the laws. But God had awakened them, or Jesus had awakened them. Few is a generality, and to be more specific, number 2 says what percent of people are saved. 1 Kings 19:18, yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, that's a golden image, and every mouth which hath not kissed him. So there were 7,000 that were remnants of believers in a wicked society. But how many, 7,000 out of how many? Well, there was a census taken of David's army, and that was 150 years ago, so it could be a similar number. But there was 1.1 million people men were in that army. So if you say 7,000 divided by 1.1 million, that is 0.6%, or less than 1%. And that's few. In Noah's Ark, there were only 8 people that were saved on the earth. Everybody else died, so that's just a few. So from statistics, I have seen that maybe 10% of people in the world are Christians. At least they say they're Christians. And of that, my guess is that in the United States, probably the most there are is about 10% are saved. And number 3, why are there so few saved? Matthew 7:21. You will enter into the kingdom of heaven if you do the will of God, which we had said, believe in the Son. Verse 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name done many wonderful works? So these are the people that think they're saved. And in verse 23, it says, and then will I profess unto you, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So yesterday I listened to a YouTube video about a mega church in California. 18,000 people go there every Sunday. I'm saying 18,000. I thought the road was few. Well, he didn't call himself a pastor. He called himself a teacher because they had a lot of little groups that he said that was the main part of that church. But he was interviewed for 1 hour and 19 minutes. He never said anything about how to be saved. He never said that salvation's by works, salvation by faith, 50% by works, 50% by salvation. He had no Bible verses with this hour and 19-minute interview. And I'm thinking these are the people that are going to say, Lord, Lord, why are you leaving us out? Because I think maybe these are the lost. Interview me for 1 hour and 19 minutes. I will say something about salvation. I will say something about a Bible verse here and there. Why are so few saved? Well, some people think it's all a fantasy. It's all make-believe. The Bible is. The atheists, they don't even think there's a God, and so they're automatically out. I know plenty of people like that. Number 2, some people think their works are going to get them to heaven. They have done many wonderful works. Number 3, God's so good, how could he possibly let all these millions of good people go to hell? But God said, I never knew you. That means they were never saved. It doesn't mean that they were saved and then lost it. They were never saved in the first place. He says, depart, go away. It is too late. And if it's too late, you're going to go to hell. Sorry, but that's what happens. Jesus himself describes 2 activities in hell. One, he says, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's in Luke 13:28. So one group is going to be weeping. They're going to be disappointed all of their life forever. The other group is going to gnash their teeth. They're going to be furious, and they're going to have fury forever. Sometimes I think about people and people that I know, people I've witnessed to, that are already dead or maybe are going to die, of course, someday. And I'm thinking, they're going to look back and say, why was I so stupid? Why did I not at least give this a thought and maybe accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior and live my life for him? Look how selfish I was, and look what the result is, and it's too late. It's just a really bad thing. Number 4, why do we need to strive? And I have a little bit of a dilemma with this. Trust Jesus for your salvation. Well, that sounds easy. Jesus is my Savior. I cannot get to heaven on what I do, only what Jesus did for me. That all sounds very straightforward, but God says it's hard. Few will enter. He says we must strive, agonize to enter into heaven. In Luke 13:24, it says, strive to enter in at the strait gate. For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter and shall not be able. So strive to do what? Strive is an action word. It means you have to struggle. Is believing and trusting and relying on Jesus, is it that difficult? Well, that is what we must do to be saved, is to believe, rely, and trust in Jesus. In John 4:36, it says, he that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. So what is it that keeps us from believing? Well, I think the very, very number one thing is sin. In John 3:19, it says, this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. So it's our carnal nature for us to love sin and not want to give it up. We don't want to accept Jesus. We don't want to live for Jesus because we just love what's going on right now with our life. We don't want to give up a lot of things. So we're not even going to ask for salvation. Number two, to believe in Jesus requires humility. In James 4:6, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. So many people, they like the power, they like people respecting them, and they don't want to humble themselves. You need to humble yourself in order to come to Jesus. Number three, they're unwilling to deny themselves. I used to always say you need to deny yourself. In Luke 9:23, and he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Verse 24, lose his life for my sake. Rely on Jesus 100%. That's hard. People don't like to do that. They want a little bit more control than that. So to be one of the few, listen and heed. John 14:6. And you've probably heard this verse many times. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. So, why is it so hard? People should just say Jesus is the reason that I'm going to go to heaven because I believe in him for my salvation, but people just don't do that. There's just too many things they think they have to give up here on earth, and they just really love their sin, I think, the most. All right, I have a song. This song is called The Narrow Road, and it's by Tommy Ivy. And the words have a lot to do with the lesson today. There's a road wide and easy, lined with gold and pure delight. And crowds are cheering, the way seems right, but in the distance a voice calls out, come to the narrow way, you'll never be the same. It's not the path of many, just Jesus and me. Leads to a kingdom where love conquers all. way tempts me with pleasant desires, but in the end, darkness and fire. And all my buddies, they make me feel right, but inside my soul's a fright. Oh, guide my feet when the way seems long, and when the trials make my spirit strong. I'll trust your promise, I'll hold to your truth. The narrow road is leading me to you. Come to the narrow way. You'll never be the same. It's not the path of many, just Jesus and me. But it leads to a kingdom where love conquers all. Through the narrow gate, walk to the throne. Come to the narrow way. You'll never be the same. It's not the path of many, just Jesus and me. But it leads to a kingdom where love conquers all. Through the narrow gate, walk to the throne. All right, this is Tommy Ivy, video number 36. In the background, there is a picture of a bunch of people on the broad road, and there is a narrow road leading to a church across to heaven. Not too many people on that narrow road, many people on the broad road. That 18,000 in that church, that mega church, I'm afraid there's a chance they're on that road. I didn't hear anything about salvation from that teacher of theirs. And it's just so easy. The broad road, you feel so comfortable. So many people are there that you know, but you need to be on that narrow road. So I hope you're there, and remember the way to get there is all the way through Jesus, trusting in Jesus for your salvation and sincerely trusting in Him for your salvation. So signing off, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.